Let me tell you the reason why a very bad government that will be leaving office will say that they will remember him. If a government who did not work, who did not keep any foreign reserve, there is no foreign reserve, and it has acquired a lot of foreign debt, both foreign and local debt, you will see that in the government coffer there will not be money in government coffer. And when there is no money in government purse, when there is no money that government will use to finance his budget, how will money come? There is two ways that money will come. It's either they generate revenue through tax, and it has a way of reflecting the life of the masses. Because when the producer noticed that there is an increment in the cost of production, he will shift the cost into the price of the commodity, except the commodity is an essential commodity that he cannot influence the price. So when government has squandered all the money in government coffer, and they have even borrowed and borrowed, and they know that for any incoming government to be able to function, to be able to work, to be able to even pay salary, it has to increase revenue. And when you increase revenue, any kind of revenue, it will definitely be seen in the life of the masses. And if he didn't generate internal revenue, that is okay, let him resort to borrowing. Nigeria has borrowed a lot. The number of Nigerian staff that are in government payroll, over 60% of it, they are not maximally utilized. Government are paying them even without them contributing efficiently to the organization. Let me put it later. There are people in civil service that government are just paying. They are not rendering any services. They just go there, sit, or go to their duty post and gist. They are not productive. Their services are not needed. And if they employ them, they should put them in use for them to be productive, for them to be able to contribute to the national development. People who are receiving salary that goes to work every day but sit and gossip are more than people who are really working for their money. So for government to be able to pay all this salary when politicians are fighting how they will put their brother, their sister, their relative, their grandfather, their dead brother in government payroll, so that they will use that to siphon government money, and they are not even contributing to the development of the nation. They are not generating any revenue. These are people that sit and gossip. Those who are there, and there are majority of ghost workers that they are paying. They are not be coming to work. For government to be able to finance government expenditure, which is a recurrent expenditure, government has to increase tax. So if you see what is happening now, it seems that government have also removed subsidy in education. People will say that there is no subsidy in education before. There is subsidy in education before. I said it. If private university pay 500,000 school fees, 700, some 1 million, some 1.5 million, and in your government university, in tertiary university, you are paying 20,000, 25,000, 30,000, 50,000. You think that is what they are using to pay lecturers? That is what they are using to run day-to-day schools administrative activities? No. The money you pay as a school fees, you pay less than 50,000 naira or less than 100,000 naira, you say that is your school fees. It's not enough to run the day-to-day educational activities. Pay non-academic, pay academic staff, pay the cleaner, the securities. Some classes, you see that they use a public address system, they use marker to write. If you calculate all these things, you see that the money we pay as school fees is not enough to run the school's activity, talk less of used to pay their salary. So since there is no money in government coffer, Tinubu have told the educational sector that if he's bringing so and so to education to run, that he has removed hand for them to continue to run the government school. That is why these people is increasing school fees. I don't know whether it will even be enough, but what I am saying is that why these people will say they will remember them after they left office is because they left nothing in government purse. There is nothing that the incoming government will stand on and use to execute recurrent expenditure, talk less of recurrent expenditure. That is my point. Government in office will squander everything. Well, this is the difference between Tinubu and Peter Obi. Peter Obi campaign, Peter Obi's style of administration when he was coming, he was hammering on reducing the cost of governance. When you reduce the cost of governance by reducing their salary, by reducing their labor force, all the labor force that are not utilizing themselves, that are not productive, should be dropped. And when he dropped those people that are not effective in the government parastatals, you have assistant secretary, assistant to the assistant secretary, assistant to the assistant PA. These are not needed. So by the time he runs a government that will reduce the cost of governance, you see that the recurrent expenditure will drop drastically. That was his campaign. But this administration now doesn't want to look into the cost of administration, the cost of governance. They are now looking into the area of taxation, to tax the masses, to make the masses to pay more for education, pay more for electricity, pay more for health. So when we pay more, we are still paying more in fuel. You see that the whole burden is on the masses. The whole burden is on the citizen. Not the citizen, not the government to reduce the cost of governance so that everybody can, so that the poor masses, the poor of the poor, can even be able to sustain, can be able to survive in this kind of hard economy. Instead, he's still pushing the burden more and more on the masses. You remove subsidy, in fuel subsidy, that wasn't enough. Government have reduced budget in education. If government did not reduce budget in education, schools will not have increased their school fees. For them to be able to run school effectively, they do have to increase the school fees. The same thing happening in the power sector. So how can the masses continue this suffering, this hardship, when government refuse to reduce the cost of governance? If government did not reduce the cost of government, this hardship will further push more on the masses. And when it happens, the masses will not take it lightly. The masses will go on the street to protest, because the exploitation of the masses is getting out of hand. We were saying that the government in Buhari's administration borrows money. The money they borrow, we didn't see it. We didn't see the effect of billions and trillions of naira borrowed under Buhari's administration. And if the effect of those money borrowed are not seen, we have no choice than to conclude that they borrowed the money to share it. And when you see government borrow money to share, how are we now sure that the money they are taxing us to pay more, they will not still share it? What kind of country are we? Nigerians should rise up and see how we can kick against this exploitation of the masses. Government should reduce and leave the masses at least to be able to afford 3 square meals. Thank you.